When I began in television 30 years ago, the nameplate on most studio television cameras was an American name, RCA. Today, the names are Ikegami, Panasonic, Hitachi, and Sony, all of them Japanese. Japan used to be known as an imitator of goods made elsewhere, primarily in the U.S. But today, the imitators have become the innovators. Japan, Germany, Korea, all challenging America. How did the roles get reversed? There's plenty of blame to go around, our educators, our industries, and our government. Tonight, we'll look at how the nation which once held the future in the palm of its hand is letting the future slip through its fingertips. We begin with what looked like the dawn of a new American era.
Alamogordo, New Mexico, July 16, 1945. Dramatic testimony of American technology.
3, 2, 1.
The atomic bomb, infinitely more destructive than any existing weapon, a development of the best and brightest minds in the country. Throughout the United States, the 1940s was a time of innovation and application. For American scientists, it was one breakthrough after another. Synthetic rubber, advances in jet aircraft, and digital computers. Americans developed the Polaroid camera.
Something very pretty to show you in just a minute.
And the transistor that revolutionized the whole communications industry. It was American know-how that designed reflecting telescopes and long-playing records, and so much more.
Hear that tone? It's RCA Victor. Reach for the Remington.
It always keeps itself frost-free.
When it came to technology, the United States was the undisputed leader. There was simply no comparison and no competition.
This can happen only in America, where we have a competitive enterprise system in which nothing is impossible.
The United States emerged from the Second World War as the only country with its industrial base stronger than ever. Germany and Japan had been pulverized. France devastated. Britain was economically shattered. In what would become exquisite irony, America paid to rebuild those industrialized countries. While they rebuilt, we were on a roll. So much so that by the 1950s, this country was producing more than half the cars bought around the world. It even affected how we saw the world, as RCA brought out the first color television sets.
The first artificial Earth satellite in the world has now been created.
When the Russians put the first satellite in space, Americans responded to the challenge. And by 1969, had enough of the right stuff to put the first man on the moon.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
American technology was still supreme, still secure, or so it seemed.
We had such a lead on the rest of the world on a whole set of dimensions, science dimensions, economic dimensions, education dimensions, that in some sense we got fat, dumb, and happy behind that huge lead. The rest of the world was desperate to catch up.
And it did. West Germany came back quickly and competitively in key industries like automobiles. It was called the West German Miracle. And then there was Japan. At first, the Japanese were content simply to copy American technology, turning out cheap imitations. Gradually, however, they improvised and improved on American products. It started with radios and wristwatches, and it spread.
It's a Sony. She's got a Sony Trinitron.
It's not just a color television, it's a Sony.
There is no one point where U.S. technology began losing its edge. Through the 1960s and 70s, it was a slow, gradual process. So gradual, in fact, many Americans failed to notice.
It was only in the mid-70s, when our annual trade deficit began soaring into the tens of billions of dollars, did we begin to understand. Did we begin to see just how many products were coming into this country from Germany and Taiwan, Korea and Japan, and how much the demand for American products was drying up overseas. It is reflected in many sectors of the economy, in all parts of the country. In automobiles, the United States share of the world market has fallen from 76% to 24%. In machine tools, from 100% to 35%. In turntables, from 90% to 1%. In color televisions, from 90% to 10%. Not long ago, 27 American companies made color TVs. Today, there is only one major manufacturer, Zenith. The others may have American names, but they are foreign-made or foreign-owned. Even RCA-TV, a pioneer in color television, has been sold to a French company.
Fewer new processes get invented in America, and therefore we get pushed back into lower productivity, lower wage industries, while those countries that are better scientifically capture larger market shares in the high-tech, high-productivity, high-wage industries.
Aware of what's at stake for the American economy, today and into the future, many see this technological competition as a kind of war, a war the United States stands to lose, indeed is losing, one battle after another, one industry after another.
And let's not forget this. Cheaper labor drew American investment and American technology overseas. In effect, we exported jobs and our technology went with it. What we got in exchange were less expensive and eventually better products, stamped made in Japan, Germany, Korea, or Taiwan. That was the start, but there were other factors. American education, American industry, American government were all to blame for losing the future.
Losing the Future with Sander Van Oker.
It's called Sputnik.
How in the hell did they ever get ahead of us?
Russia had won the opening round in rocket supremacy.
When we were beaten into space by our arch rivals in October 1957, it was a blow to our national pride.
This generation does not intend to founder in the backwash of the coming age of space. We mean to be a part of it. We mean to lead it.
That was more like it. We would shoot for the moon.
Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and fly right.
The whole nation took up the challenge, starting with our school children. High marks in math and science became a matter of national priority. Federal funds were poured into improving the science equipment and instruction in our schools. Science fairs discovered future Einsteins, and we watched Mr. Wizard.
That's what all the kids in the neighborhood call him, because he shows them the magic and mystery of science in everyday living.
It all paid off.
Listen, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
By 1969, back where we belonged, on top of the world, we slapped each other on the back and waited for the rest of the world to catch us if it could.
Fly right.
And then it fell apart again. The United States became mired in Vietnam.
World. Problem number one, playing it safe. We don't take risks. Sometimes good ideas just slip through our fingers. Take the compact disc. Companies like Philips, the Dutch electronics maker, thought it was a good idea. American industry thought the idea was risky.
They were not interested in compact discs because that would not be successful. The black disc was there and would stay forever.
The black disc, of course, is the record album. It's now an endangered species, while compact disc sales topped $1 billion for the first 6 months of this year. But the money involved in CDs is just a drop in the bucket compared to another technology we gave away. Video cassette recorders. The first video recorders were developed in the U.S. by the same company that made audio tape recorders, Ampex. But in the 60s, Ampex didn't recognize the potential of the consumer market for video products. Japan did.
Ampex was not particularly concerned at that time, so they ignored the Japanese efforts.
When Ampex finally decided to go after the competition, it was too little, too late. Faced with $40 million in losses, it sold its technology to Toshiba and dropped the project. Other American companies had VCRs in development, but they didn't make it to the stores. It's a consumer market which now sees VCRs in 2/3 of American homes.
Last year, over 12 million VCRs were imported into the United States. Not a single one was produced domestically. We lost the entire game.
And what about the loss of even newer technology? Listen to the story of the Colorax Corporation. They developed a new color laser copier machine.
We have an outstanding new technology that will create machines that are half the cost of existing machines. It will operate 50% faster, turn out consistently better quality output, and the copy cost is half the copy cost, all costs included of the competitive machines.
Colorax had one problem. They couldn't get any American investors to back them. No one would take the risk.
If they want their money in and they want to bring it out, they want you to go public. Quick turnarounds. The product we're dealing with was a 3-4 year cycle. You don't get in and out quick.
Turned away at Wall Street, Colorax turned to Japan. The Colorax technology is now heading for the marketplace in a machine from Sharp, made in Japan. Wall Street greed, another problem. In the past few years, Wall Street has become preoccupied with something else.
Buy 100, gonna sell 100, Volvo.
So buying 500 Sam Victor Boy for the day at 7/8.
And look for even more money to be made from the RJR Nabisco buyout.
I urge you, as a part of your mission, seek wealth.
Merger mania, paying huge sums to buy existing companies instead of investing in the company's futures.
20 years ago, Wall Street was the handmaiden of American industry. American industry needed money, you go to Wall Street. These days, American industry is the plaything of Wall Street. The roles have been reversed. Wall Street has gone out of control. We're on a binge. It's a casino.
It's that casino atmosphere that contributes to the stifling of American technology. Good inventions need money and time to grow, but these days, Wall Street's time frame is the quarterly report. Every 3 months, the bottom line must show results.
We have created a monster here that is pressing the management of this economic system to do things that, if society had to vote, it wouldn't vote for us to do that.
Problem number 3, research and development. This, an R&D lab, is one thing most experts would like to keep. These labs are where companies get most of their ideas and where they turn those ideas into new technology. But corporate concerns over buying out other companies or fighting off companies that want to take them over are taking their toll on research. Example, Borg-Warner Company, which did research in several crucial areas. Offshore oil production and transportation, among others, spent $2 billion fighting a takeover battle. After that, their debt was too high. The research lab was the first to go.
It was an outstanding laboratory. I doubt that we'll ever see its kind again.
Wow! I saw Color TV, RCA Victor Color TV.
Compatible Color TV was born at the David Sarnoff Research Center in New Jersey.
Gosh! The color is true. Her hair so red, her eyes so blue.
But General Electric decided it didn't need the facility when it took over RCA, so the lab was sold. In the process, its staff cut by 300, its budget by 20%.
I would say in terms of doing more basic research, we do less now than we did 20 years ago, certainly.
Losing know-how. We are the nation that invented mass production, but we've lost our leadership in the very technology of manufacturing. To put it more bluntly, we don't know how to make things anymore. Take microchips, the devices used to store information in computers. The microchip was co-developed by an American, Dr. Robert Noyce.
We spent more and more of our time advancing the technology. The Japanese spent more and more of their effort in developing the manufacturing techniques to make these things cheap.
Result, though we're ahead in advanced computers, we've been all but forced out of the market in memory chips, which are used in everything from cars to copiers. Another example, robotics, the use of machines to do what used to be man's work, like painting and welding cars. We developed much of this technology, but it was Japan that applied it.
The worst plants in the U.S. are really pretty bad. A lot of plants in the U.S. are still operating on the assumption that there has to be a trade-off between productivity and quality. The Japanese have shown us that there doesn't have to be.
Quality is job one. The name is Dodge. The quality is Chrysler.
The auto industry knows it has a problem when it comes to production technology, and while there have been some improvements on the factory floor, many critics say the real problem is at the top.
And when something goes wrong, they try to fix the blame, not the process, because in fact they don't know how the work gets done.
And right now, no one is fixing it. Managers are more interested in profits, not products, and profits don't produce new ideas. It's a problem from top to bottom.
High technology is like an escalator. If you have a workforce that's capable of understanding the present generation of technology, they can go on and adapt to the next generation of technology. But if your workforce doesn't understand the technology, can't apply the technology, can't develop new products with that technology, then they're off the escalator.